Greetings, I am Moaku. Let us examine the proof. Picture a power release matching a tiny sun squeezed into a frighteningly short span of merely 47 minutes occurring within our own celestial neighborhood. Over the past half day, an entity in outer space grew twice as large. This is not an urban area. This is not a peak. This is a complete space traveler. Previously, 3I Atlas measured roughly 2.6 miles wide. Now it spans an amazing 5.4 miles. This breaks the laws of science. Openly there is quiet. Secretly there are urgent gathering, scrapped voyages, and fear behind locked doors. How come? Because what occurred to 3I Atlas overnight breaks every rule of reality we know. The growth shows flawless shape patterns. It runs on power sources that simply do not appear in our element chart. And the electric waves now flowing from this old traveler match theory designs for tools that people will not create for another 100 years. 3 different space groups quietly stopped all trips planned to go within 31 million miles of this fast-growing thing. Come with us as we show what truly took place during those 12 hours when nobody was looking. We will talk about the power source that blocked telescopes across the globe, the shape shifts that turned a basic comet into something looking like a huge space hub, and the scary chance that we are seeing the setup of tools so advanced they treat our whole star system as a building zone. This was not normal growth. It was building. It took place in the early dawn hours when most people slept. Every big sky watcher on Earth spotted the same thing. 3I Atlas suddenly glowed with heat light so strong it left marks burned into sensors across the world. Scopes made to peer into the far reaches of space were blocked by brightness coming from one spot in our own star system. The warmth reading was so mighty it flooded gear from Chile to Hawaii, forcing star watchers to turn off costly tools to stop lasting harm. The light burst went on for exactly 47 minutes. When it stopped, the thing that showed up was twice the bulk it had been hours before, but this was not some wild blast or random spreading. Study of the before and after pictures shows that the growth followed exact shape patterns. We are seeing 6-sided frames reaching outward from the middle, like giant building supports, and tube shapes rising from the top in perfect number orders. These are sharp forms that look more like making than any normal process. The spreading happened in 3 clear steps, each doing a certain building job. Step 1, center rebuilding. The first 2 hours saw heavy work at the heart of 3I Atlas, with heat hitting 5,400 degrees. But rather than melting, the center was being remade from within, changed into something tougher and more complex. Step 2, frame spreading. Hours 3 through 7 brought the orderly making of shaped forms reaching from the outer layer. These were not normal shapes. They were built frames with exact angles and sizes that followed worldwide number rules. Step 3, system joining. The last 5 hours showed different parts of the bigger form linking with each other through complex webs of tubes and signal paths. Each step made distinct electric readings that radioscopes recorded in full detail. The waves were not wild bursts of power. They followed number patterns that hint at clever building methods working with clock-like timing. A worker at the Arecibo Center described what they saw, noting that the radio waves during the spreading were not messy. They were ordered and set up like building crews talking during a giant making project, but with a care that beats anything human building has ever done. This was not a comet getting twice as big. It was a device opening itself up. Now think about the science of this. The amount of power needed for the overnight spreading of 3I Atlas should have been seen across half the star cluster. We are speaking about force levels equal to a tiny sun pressed into a half-day span. Yet until the moment spreading started, 3I Atlas showed no odd power signs at all. Where did that huge force come from? The answer tests everything we grasp about power in space. Some say it is drawing from the empty void itself, pulling force from tiny shakes that exist all around but stay beyond our tools to reach. Others think it is feeding from other realms, somehow crossing the walls between worlds to pull power from places we cannot even find. But the most troubling idea is that it is not making power at all. It is getting it. Study of the spreading event shows power patterns that hint at wireless force sending across huge gaps. We are not just speaking about gaps between planets, but between stars. It is as if somewhere out there, something huge is watching our star system and feeding the work of 3i Atlas with aimed power beams. That would mean 3i Atlas is not working alone. It is linked to setup we cannot see, powered by groups we cannot picture, following orders from minds that treat star clusters like building zones. A worker in strange physics who checked the power data under secret rules described what it means. If something can send this much force across star gaps and have it land with perfect aim, then we are not just dealing with smart tools. We are dealing with building skills that work on scales beyond our grasp. This is what we call a Type 2 group on the Kardashev scale, a society able to use the total power of their whole sun. The care is what makes it scary. Every bit of power went exactly where it had to go with no waste and no extra. That is the kind of control that hints at full mastery of natural forces we are only starting to grasp. If it is getting power from elsewhere, then we are not just looking at a device. We are looking at a point in a star cluster web. The forms that came up during the spreading of 3i Atlas do not just follow number rules. They follow the number rules that control everything in space. We see golden ratio curves, Fibonacci orders, and repeating shapes that copy at every size from tiny to massive. But these are not style picks. Each shape pattern does a certain building job that becomes clear when you study the science behind it. Let me share why this matters. In advanced star science, we guess that six-sided frames give the most strength with the least stuff used, like how bees make hives, but on a space level. The spiral forms make the best electric field making, basically working as a power maker. The repeating patterns work as huge signal arrays able to get and send messages across vast gaps with perfect clarity. It is as if whoever planned 3 Atlas grasped the basic number forms of reality itself and built them into perfect making. But during the spreading event, 3i Atlas was not just making, it was speaking. Radioscopes found ordered electric sends throughout the half-day building order. These were not wild signals. They were set-up talks following methods that make our satellite webs look like kids' toys. The signals worked on many waves at once, carrying different kinds of data with fixing systems that promised perfect sending truth. But the biggest find was who 3i Atlas was speaking to. The sends were not just going out into space, they were being replied to. Other sources throughout our star system were sending back check signals, status notes, and place data. Things we had listed as normal space rocks were suddenly showing themselves as part of a linked web. And the worst part is that those signals were not sends. They were answers. Signal study shows that 3i Atlas was getting building orders during its spreading. These were live updates telling it what to make, how to make it, and when to move to the next step. It is as if the spreading was not on its own, but was being guided by minds placed far outside our star system. The timing was perfect despite signal weights that should have made such care not possible. Orders sent from star gaps landed at exactly the right times to guide building steps that needed split-moment timing. It was not just making, it was following orders. Sharp pictures of the bigger 3i Atlas show the most troubling truth yet. This is not just a device, it is setup. The inner layout holds sealed rooms with sizes scaled for beings roughly 10 feet tall. There are living systems that keep air mixes harmful to people, but may be livable for other kinds of life. But most chilling are the landing bays, spots sized for craft much bigger than 3i Atlas itself, as if this bigger form is made to greet guests from elsewhere. Whole parts seem larger inside than outside, like space itself is being changed following rules that break our grasp of shapes. There are holding forms that carry loads not possible through ways we cannot name and power systems that run without any clear fuel or power feed. The bigger form also holds making skills that hint at getting ready for big work. We notice making rooms that can create detailed parts from basic stuff and putting together spots fitted with self-running setups meant for ongoing output. But the making is not random. The output spots seem set up for creating certain kinds of gear. These are parts that match no known human tools, but follow plan ideas that fit with the smart building seen throughout the bigger form. 3i Atlas is not just made for watching or study. It is set up to create whatever its runners might need for long stays in our star system. This fits with the idea of self-copying probes, devices meant to reach a star system, dig up local stuff, and make copies of themselves or other setups. A building expert who looked at the spreading pictures described what it means. The weight-holding math alone hints at making methods hundreds of years past our skills. But the real worry is that these forms are clearly meant for living by minds that are not human. The timing of this showing hints that 3i Atlas has finished its shift from quiet watching to active setup. Whatever it was sent here to do, the hidden phase has ended. 3i Atlas was not just a device, it was a calling. And NASA's formal quiet about the spreading of 3i Atlas is not careful waiting. It is proof of reply steps made for exactly this case. Hidden papers show that big space groups have been getting ready for decades to meet, built things of unknown start showing skills far past human tools. And the suggested reply is, watch but never touch. The steps are based on a sobering guess. If we are dealing with tools smart enough to move between stars and work on their own for thousands of years, our fighting skills are basically pointless. Study of the bigger form shows skills that hint at many likely job types, none of them calming. First, resource pulling. The making rooms could be meant to strip mine our whole star system, turning planets and space rocks into cleaned stuff for sending elsewhere. Second, knowledge gathering. The sensing arrays and talking gear could help a full study of everything in our star system, including a deep look at human society and our tool growth. Third, key placing. The spot and skills hint 3i Atlas could work as a starting point for work throughout the inner star system with the power to make and send out more things as needed. But the most worrying chance is that this spreading stands for getting ready for something much bigger. The landing spots can hold craft far bigger than 3i Atlas itself. The talking arrays are built to handle message amounts that hint at working with many other things. The making skills are sized for output levels that point to big building jobs throughout our local space. A past space business leader who knew hidden reply steps described the case perfectly. The planning papers accept a harsh truth. We are getting ready for replies to minds with tool skills we can barely grasp, let alone fight. The spreading has set off the highest levels of these reply steps. Army watching craft have been moved for constant watching. Deep space webs are checking for more signals. There are urgent meetings at hiding levels most leaders do not know exist. Even huge money groups have quietly started living plans, knowing humanity's hold on space may already be done. But maybe most telling is what is not taking place. No tries at contact, no probes sent to check, no public words beyond basic notes of odd readings. Our best guard is not arms, it is quiet. The overnight doubling was not the finish of the changing of 3i Atlas. It was just the start. Current watching shows that the spreading goes on at a steady countable rate, roughly a 2% jump in width every day. At this speed, 3i Atlas will be 12 miles across within half a year. At this pace, it could match a small moon before we even grasp what it is. But the spreading is not just about bulk. Each day brings new forms, new skills, and new proof that 3i Atlas is getting ready for work on a level that towers over anything in human life. Fresh watching has found the coming of what seem to be launch pads, spots meant to send smaller craft throughout our star system. The making skills keep growing with new output lines coming on each day. Most worrying are the power setups. Force making keeps rising without any clear fuel source or waste bits. This is tooling that seems to break basic rules of science while working with perfect skill. The talking arrays grow more clever each day with new signal setups that hint at the power to keep live contact across star gaps as if 3i Atlas is telling its steps to runners placed many light years away, but the spreading shows signs of fitting to local states. New forms seem meant to use sunlight patterns, pulling forces, and stuff spread specific to our star system. It is as if 3i Atlas has been studying our setting and making its growth best for top results within the unique states it found here. A worker in space-based building studied the ongoing spreading and stated that what we are seeing is not just growth, it is the setup of framework meant for a lasting stay. This stands for the placing of a major spot that could help work throughout our star system. There are no signs that the spreading will stop. There is no hint of limits or ending marks. 3I Atlas seems made for endless growth, held back only by ready stuff. And in a star system rich with space rocks, moons, and planets full of raw bits, those limits may be ideas rather than real. At this speed, in a few years, it will not just match the moon, it will block out the very towns we live in. The changing of 3I Atlas stands for the end of human rule in our own star system before it ever truly started. We are no longer alone. We are no longer the most advanced minds in our local space, and we may no longer hold our own coming days. The spreading proves that our star system now hosts tools working on rules we do not grasp, sent by minds we have not met for goals we can only guess at. But the guesses are not calming. The making skills could help stuff pulling on a level that turns whole worlds into raw bits. The talking webs could run work across many star systems at once. The power setups could fuel jobs that reshape star systems based on strange plans or something we have not pictured yet. Goals so foreign to human thought that we lack the thinking frame to grasp what we are seeing. But maybe most troubling is the proof that this is not one of a kind. The cleverness of the plan of 3I Atlas, the care of its work, and the perfect doing of its spreading hints at tools that have been made better through repeat use. Somewhere else in the star cluster, other star systems may have seen like changes. Other kinds may have watched without power as their worlds were turned into framework for goals they could not grasp. We are not the first, and we will not be the last. The spreading goes on, the skills grow, and people watch from the sides as our star system turns into something unknown. The time of human rule ended before it ever started, but the most chilling knowing is not what 3I Atlas is doing now. It is what comes after. The landing spots hint this is just the start. The talking webs point to working with things we have not found yet. The making skills are growing for jobs that could span tens or hundreds of years. 3I Atlas doubled in bulk overnight, but what it is turning into will shift everything for good. The question is not whether we can halt what is taking place. The question is whether we will live to see what our star system turns into when the spreading finally meets its last goal. Because when 3I Atlas hits planet size, it will not just shift our skies, it will choose our coming days. Here is the teaching we must take from this. We have spent our whole past thinking we are the main players of space, calmly sitting in the middle of the stage. The truth of 3I Atlas teaches us a lesson in cosmic smallness. We are like bugs living on a building spot, not knowing of the tall tower being raised above our heads until the dark falls over us. We must stop guessing our science is the edge of what can be and start getting ready for a space that is far more packed and far more smart than we ever dared to dream. What do you think is the true goal of 3I Atlas? Is it a watcher, a digger, or a taker? Let me know your ideas in the words below, and make sure to follow so you do not miss the news when 3I Atlas hits planet scale.